You are now listening to Between Us Girls, the podcast, where we discuss life's fuckeries and then some over wine.
Hey, welcome to our show. This is Michelle,
Danielle,
and Sharonda, and this is
Between Us Girls.
And I don't say where you can find us anymore, but just head over to our website, www.betweenusgirlspodcast.com/episodes. And so tonight we are this Wi-Fi. It's back there. I was just going to say a little bit of. You said you wanted to talk about something.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know if you were going to do the wine first or whatever.
Well, no. We can. Okay.
So tonight, we don't do Patreon anymore. Tonight we're sipping on, this bitch really. Orvieto Classico. It's a Rufino. Vintage. It's 2017. And Michelle picked it, so I'm sure it's like the highest 12% alcohol.
I actually was just looking for something that was a white blend.
I bet she was. So I know it's backwards. I don't need y'all to tell me that.
It's forwards for them.
Oh, it is. Oh, fuck, this light is crazy. There. Fuck that.
Rufino, some shit that I picked up at Kroger.
We just got a screw top on it.
No, that was not. It was on the high end section of Kroger.
I like screw tops.
Oh,
I don't know. It's just easier.
It was $10.
So I just wanted to. So I guess add a new segment today, like a little moment of positivity.
Okay.
You know, to set the mood. So we. Okay, so every week I post a morning PSA on Monday specifically, just something to, get you through the week. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're serious, sometimes they're a combination of both. A lot of times though, it's not directed at anybody. I want to say that because I know sometimes people think
bitch, slugs, and what?
It's not directed at anybody. A lot of times though, it's really sort of a reminder to myself, actually. I want to be
slugs.
Can I tell you something? Between
she's saying that because they might not know that.
Right.
I know, I'm just telling her the truth about how I feel about the PSAs. When I read them, I'm like, Danielle, how to feel it.
Yeah. Like it sometimes it comes from things that I read or just things that I see or whatever. This past Monday, it came from stuff that I see a lot of times on Facebook or social media. And the PSA says you can't give what you don't have and expect it of others. So and the reason why I made that is because I see so many comments on what people want to receive.
That's the final thought.
Final cheers thoughts.
Fucking hate y'all. Anyway, so yeah, it sort of came from just me seeing a bunch of people making all these different demands on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, like what it is that they have to have in somebody else. And it's just like, but do you have that to offer? Like you saying that this person needs to be giving you sex this many times a week or whatever. Can you even hang that many times a week?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real.
That was a big shot.
Right.
I'm serious. Like a lot of guys say that they can handle, a heavy sex life. And once they get somebody that
want to fuck a lot,
they can't. They cannot handle
that life.
Yeah,
you're not.
You're not about that life,
right? So the gist of it is just don't expect anybody to give you something that you don't even possess yourself.
I guess that goes back to what we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago. What we just released. Anyway, we talked about last episode, kind of being the compromising person or whatever. Like, you can't expect this from your partner if you can't fulfill it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like saying, "Oh, I want somebody who can openly communicate with me," but then you don't know how to talk to people.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm back on the sex thing. Don't try to act like you're about that life.
Right.
Because once you get it in your life, you don't know what to do with it.
You know what? It's so
you can't handle it.
In reference to the sex, like we actually had talked about having a show about that at one time.
Having
women,
a sexless marriage.
Well, no, like women that sort of actually, we did talk about that. Yeah, we did. We did. My bad. But I know a lot of women personally that.
I mean,
fuck you, right? I'm laughing about her, right? I know, but I couldn't take it.
I know a lot of women personally that want to have a lot of sex and their partners don't. But they all sort of say, you know, they want to be flipping up, you know.
So you want to fuck 2 times a month? Is
that
what's happening?
No, but you know, people get lazy and you just want somebody that's gonna give you what the fuck you want, and you're gonna move on and be done. But a bitch that's trying to like fuck like for real, you gonna have to come on with it. You gonna have to or get like cardio involved in there. Your heart might be pumping more than what you used to.
You gotta hit that treadmill.
You gotta get your stamina built up. You know, you might have to actually reciprocate some shit. It's levels.
Yeah, like my thing about that. We're about to move the episode completely not what we talked about.
That's fine.
That's okay.
It's not
but I was gonna say, like, as far as the not getting sex goes, like, really, you know what I mean? Like, I came here naked because I'm gonna tell you the truth. There was a guy that I dated, and actually he and I lived together, and I felt like we weren't having sex enough because y'all know. Not like sex. So I was like, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm a vacuum and I'm gonna be naked.
Mm-hmm.
And it came in and was like, hey, it's went inside out. I was like,
oh wow.
Yeah. So
that was so
right.
That's trash.
That is under fucking.
That's right. Because I mean, you're sort of going out of your way to turn him on and stepping outside of your comfort zone in a way. Like, who the fuck vacuums naked? Nobody.
Right.
Like you're specifically doing that for somebody else.
I was in the nude, right? Because usually you'd be like, I'm gonna put on my sweatpants, I'm gonna clean this house. I was purposely vacuuming naked.
Right.
I had to take the shower.
Just like role playing and shit. Just because you doing it right when he fucking about to get home.
Right, on purpose.
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, it's such and such o'clock.
Right.
He's about to be here. Let me turn my clothes off.
It's
get this vacuum, bitch. That's the time. No. Really? I'd be like, it's all right. It's appointment time. It's long. But thanks for that positivity, Danielle.
You're welcome.
Danielle,
Danielle smells really good.
Yeah.
So if I keep leaning, it just.
You're so creepy.
Well, that's something I wanted to talk about too. Like the topic. Well, I just wanted to talk about the sadness of what's his name? Bartholomew John.
I don't think that's his name.
Okay, that's not his name. Oh my god! Anyway, the guy in Dallas who got killed. Yeah, something like that. Bohemia.
Yeah.
Prometheus.
Just please stop.
Okay.
You're slaughtering that poor man's name.
Anyway, God bless him. And I hate that happened, and I can't wait to find out what the story is.
Real story, because you know somebody lying. Like, it doesn't even make... Who yells open up to their own apartment?
She yelled open up?
Yeah, well, one of the tenants in the apartment complex said she heard police yell outside, and she said it sounded like somebody was saying open up while they was beating on the door.
That's
what one of the articles that I read said.
Not even fucking surprised. I'm so not even fucking surprised. I want to be, but I'm not.
So like this morning it was, she accidentally walked into an apartment that looks like hers, but wasn't hers in her apartment complex. But it's like, how the fuck do you, first of all, even do that?
Well, they said that all of the apartment doors look the same, and then some of them have...
There's no numbers nowhere?
There's probably numbers, but they have keypads, and so like how they were trying to rationalize it was that, you know,
the key fob works. I saw the key fob works for all the doors.
I don't know. But they're saying that she was probably coming home tired and wasn't realizing that she was coming in to the wrong apartment.
So she was drunk.
I don't know what her state of mind was, but it still makes no sense. Because, okay, let's say you walk into the apartment. Let's just say that the apartment is indeed dark. Where is the couch positioned? Where is the kitchen? Where are things that
Have you been into your own shit before?
Right. Where are things that you would notice? Like I would imagine the minute you walk into the door, you would notice, oh, hey, wait a minute. These are not my things.
Right.
You know, my couch
so
does
they
not look like
teach you to
this.
squeeze first and ask questions
Right.
last in motherfucking police school.
And let me
so-
tell y'all, I do know someone who said they went into the wrong house and went to jail. They said they climbed through the window.
So what's the storybook? The Three Bears? Goldilocks and so like real life Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
I mean, this person is also slow, so that's why I'm like,
Oh, okay.
you probably did, but this is different to me, and it feels very ugly.
No, it feels like lies are being told. That's what it feels
100%.
like. It just
and they're going to cover for their
nothing makes any sense. I feel like we've had so much news just this week alone. I mean, from Aretha Franklin passing and the funeral lasting for 2 days. Burt Reynolds passed, John McCain, and then just every day there's something new with Trump. It's just like, I'm still stuck on fucking Space Force. And
Do we really need that?
yeah,
Like, we really absolutely
it's
have
like,
to have a Space Force.
there's
That's
so
something
much
that we must have.
news just thrown at us like on a daily basis. It feels so overwhelming.
Yes. And you know, the thing that's funny is that, you know, this comes out with shooting this morning. It comes out right after the Nike explosion. And let's just touch on real quick the man in Rochester who burned his whole entire house down.
Did he? What?
You didn't read about that?
No.
He set some damn Nike tennis shoes on fire in his garage. He
With kerosene.
soaked them in kerosene first. Then he lit them the fuck
Extra?
on fire. Yeah, lit them on fire and burnt his whole fucking house
Right, he
down.
was surprised though that the house
Motherfucking
caught
dummy.
fire.
You deserve this.
Because he had sprayed the kerosene all over the garage. So that means
No,
that
he soaked them. And then when he lit them on fire, the fire got so out of control before he could do anything, it had reached the ceiling and the walls.
and then he called the fire department.
And then
They
he
were like,
called.
"Bro,
And you know,
My-
like your
my
insurance
shoulder is
company
dislocated.
is
It's
not
not gonna
paying
pay
for
you."
that. They're not paying for
That's
that.
exactly what I said. I posted on my wall. I'm like, you're not even going to get any insurance for this.
No,
Why are you so stupid?
because you so hate the fact that Nike is supporting Colin, which everybody that hates the fact that anybody is supporting Colin or hates Colin cause just completely overlooks the entire premise of
The cause.
exactly,
Because it doesn't
and they
affect
make
them, they
it
don't care.
and they make it about something else entirely, which
Right,
makes no
patriotism.
yeah.
It's-
And it's like, first of all, military people are not even mad at this. You know?
Oh no, a lot of them are.
Some of them
Here's
are,
the
but they're
crazy
also
part.
the same people who are mad at it that aren't military.
Yeah,
But
I'm
they have
saying
that
a lot of military people are not mad at this.
But they also have.
Oh yeah, no, they're not. I'm sorry. I'm
The ones who
thinking
are
too.
upset are the ones that have the same thing in common with the people who are not.
They're
You know what
racist.
you know what I searched the other day was the hashtag Veterans for Kaepernick. And that's what was so insane. There are so many people in support. There's like a 93-year-old dude. Oh my God, he came right up. A 93-year-old guy who is a World War something veteran. And he got me too. I was going to say maybe 3. I don't want to be disrespectful, but
We're not there yet.
He looks 1,000, but he's only 97. And he says that
He looks 1,000.
he does, but God bless his heart, because he's like, you know, these kids
Those
should be
kids.
able to. No, he literally said those kids have every right to protest.
It's a grown man.
Right?
Those kids, they have every right.
Those,
Gee,
but yeah.
golly.
I mean, but he's a farmer from like Missouri, so but he's a vet and he is completely in
Did y'all hear
support.
about the College of the Ozarks took their Nike uniforms away?
Yeah, I saw that.
But like, I didn't even know they were a thing. So
And do I really care? No.
no. How many folks?
Girl, I am fresh.
I found it surprising that the NFL was like, "Oh, we're in support now." I was like, "What?"
So y'all wasn't, but y'all was talking about the bullshit before because they had that meeting with the owners where they're like, "Well, what are you guys gonna do?"
Well,
the owners were like, "Well, they need to stay in the locker room."
I believe they lost their arbitration, and like the first part of the lawsuit that he has against them for blackballing him, and he won that part. So I think that's probably what it has to do with it, but I don't know. It's crazy. Just this week in news alone has just been just so much. Like
another vet, not mad.
Yeah,
amazing. A lot of things that I read with that hashtag said a lot, and I specifically went. I'm not gonna lie, I was trolling. I was looking for people that were not of any color, just like regular standard
white people,
those.
You said no color.
That's just stop. I'm not trying to be.
I honestly I do not like that word.
It's kind of offensive.
It's kind of offensive.
I love it. I love to offend. Fuck all the fuck
everybody. No, I get it, but it's just like what Danielle said about the positivity. It's like, how am I gonna say I want you to talk to me a certain way? And then I'm going to talk to you.
And here's what's so funny about that. All these years that we have not talked to them and had a name for them, and we still get called N-words and shit like that. Fuck y'all, I'm saying what the fuck I want to say. And I want to say colonizer. So now I'm saying colonizer. So specifically went looking for colonizing tweets to see what they had to say. And a lot of people that are not, they're not,
So are you like unable to say white? Like, what is going on?
White people.
Well, they're not of color.
Because I want to use a derogatory term. I don't care. I know.
Please don't email us.
Send it, bitch. I'll read it.
Okay, well, if you're going to send it, address it to Sharon.
That's fine. I'll read it regardless. Anyway, but no, it's crazy because a lot of people that are white that don't even have a dog in the fight are really saying shit like, this is why I serve my country, so that people can take a stand for what they believe in. And and one very important point that I read said we took an oath to the Constitution and not to a piece of fabric and not to necessarily a flag.
Well, and I have a major issue with did you guys see that video? I think I posted it Daily Watch Live or something. It's like a little Facebook show. But one of the guys on there kept saying, well, in 1918, at a baseball game,
I saw that video.
Banner for the first time. And it's like, first of all, if you're on the panel with two women, white women, and a black man, don't you know they couldn't even vote at that time?
Right.
They were not even people.
They couldn't even really go into the game and enjoy it. So, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right. That's the point that the black guy made on that video was like, why do you keep bringing it up as if like this was like a pinnacle point in society?
That was great.
Right. Exactly. And then I saw a post later where it had, I don't remember the year, but it was baseball players. They were kneeling in response to black people being lynched. So it's like,
it's the same thing.
Exactly. So you're talking about these American, all white bread American baseball players singing the national anthem and bringing the country together and that's what it's all about. But it's like, if something is wrong, why aren't people able to bring the country together and fix what is wrong at the same time?
And it's so weird to me because it's like, all that's happening is people are trying to raise awareness for what's happening. It's like, just open your eyes a little bit and look at it.
Yeah.
And they're so resistant to it.
Yeah.
It's like, how can you really be talking about, oh, that's disrespectful to the American military, but people get whole killed?
Yeah, because it's not. But because they keep trying to say it's disrespectful to the flag when they know goddamn well that the flag is nowhere even in play into any of this shit. Oh, whatever.
And honestly, I can't tell you how many, when I was doing my little Twitter troll, I can't tell you how many black either currently members of the military that are currently serving and veterans have had some type of NIGGER, go home, whatever type of experience within the military. Even read where one young man says his grandfather that his grandfather is proud of him for Kaepernick for kneeling, because even after he went, served his country, came home and got completely disrespected, had family members killed, and it doesn't change. So you can't tell me it's disrespectful to vets when the vets they are people first. That is a black man in that uniform before he's a member of the military, right. Regardless of what they teach them. Because one girl, black lady on Twitter said that she, on her first day of I guess boot camp or whatever, on her door, where her barracks were, it said "Go home, nigger."
That's just like that video. Remember that video with they had cheddars.
Don't do me.
Yes, and the two girls in the military.
They had
one of them was pregnant.
Had her uniform on.
Yes.
And,
Lord have mercy.
And the white people were attacking them.
Right.
And it's just
you care so much about veterans.
Exactly. You care so much about veterans. You care so much about people in the military. And it's like, this lady has training, right? Like, she could beat your whole ass.
Your whole entire ass.
And you really fucking with her? And I commend her on the restraint that she displayed in that video, because I don't know. Like,
that was blatantly ignorant. And
you're not gonna just keep pushing me.
I can understand it, but how much longer is this shit to be tolerated and us turning the other cheek? That's why a lot of these Bible thumping ass people that are on Facebook and Instagram and all these other places, turn the other cheek. Bitch, I only have 2. I only have 2. You got 2 times to fuck up with me. It's a wrap. I don't give a fuck. We all gonna go to jail. Whatever. I don't give a damn.
But see, I don't.
It is what it is.
That's just because I don't want to say colonizer that I'm turning the other cheek, because my thing is, bitch, I will fucking fight you, and I'll call you white man. If that is offensive to you, well, then I'm sorry. You're still white. You know what I mean? But it has no meaning behind it to me, as much as something like the N-word. Because we know someone mutually that every time it's said, it sounds so aggressive.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
And I'm like, but you are doing exactly what it is that you don't like. So even though it is peaceful to say, but you can still get the job done. You can get the job done without even paying attention to them.
Yeah, but it's purely me being ignorant. Like that's I am. I'm going to accept that. Yes.
But you're not ignorant though, Shabbat.
I'm not
upset. I'm upset, but you're tired, like you said.
I am so fucking tired. So tired.
And you're tired. And we don't have to be the same, but that's the thing about black people sometimes is we, just like with Malcolm X and MLK, we look at each other and we go, well, you don't want to do what I do, so fuck you then. Instead of saying, okay, well, you just do it the way you gonna do it.
No, and I'm okay with
that. I do it.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about you specifically. Yeah. But I feel like that's a problem.
People go about shit different ways, but we still need the same. We need to say, okay, well, we do have the same goal, so let's go ahead and, you can do it your way, I'll do it my way. We don't have to agree, but they're gonna respect us, right? And I'm not in any way a fucking racist. How could it be? Anyway, at the end of the day,
do you know who your daddy is? You found out?
I did my 23andMe, bitch. I can't talk about nobody. I'm every fucking.
But are you Mesopotamian?
It's partially yes, I am. So fuck all y'all. But no, and I mean that in a derogatory sense to the people who who have really negative things to say, and the people who are burning Nikes because fuck Nike and all that. My thing is, if you're not going to be smart enough or educated enough to sit down and have the conversation and figure out why the fuck so many people are passionate about this same subject, then fuck you, you're ignorant, you're an idiot. I'm going to talk to you like you're a fucking ignorant ass idiot. And that's just the way it's going to be. Because all of this shit can be... If a conversation was no, you can talk, but if a conversation was just had, just one conversation was had about this, and one person say, you know what, let me just hear what they're trying to say, instead of looking at something and saying, oh, fuck that.
It would literally take the right-wing news media to share.
And they never will. That's what keeps them in business. They
Barack Obama asked today, what happened to the Republican Party? He asked the question today at the speech. It's like, you're letting so many things pass, and you're not doing exactly.
You don't look admirable. Exactly. And Democrats and Republicans in Washington, they're cool outside of
they're the same.
Their voters. Like when they go vote or whatever, they're like, okay, well, I have an opposite vote from you. But those people do not hate each other at their core.
They just have opposing views.
Right.
And it's crazy because they constantly have conversations about why they don't agree. Amazing.
It's
when
like
it comes to a
regular
black
debate.
person or a black life, that conversation is never, oh, we should have that conversation. No, you don't.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's not a trickle down effect.
You don't get
in that way. Because even John McCain, most of them, they don't even like Trump. Okay, and they don't like his ideals, and they feel like he's making them look bad because he really is.
Half of them I agree. The other half, I think he's like, oh man, they're exposing us for what we really feel.
Right.
Like, darn.
Right.
Like,
but there are some who are like, you know what, this is that cool. I have these ideals about this. That doesn't necessarily make me racist. It means that I'm rich, or I have this, or I want to keep my money, or whatever. You know what I mean? But there are some who are like straight up like, okay, well, you're just a nigger. And those are the people who burning a whole house down because they stupid. So, would y'all like to talk about what we were going to talk about?
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
This wasn't the topic. No, I'm just joking.
All right, Danielle, you want to give backstory, or Sharonda, you know it. The backstory on the girlfriend.
Yeah.
I was actually going to read.
Okay.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
No,
you gonna read it?
I was going to read the post.
Okay.
You go to the store.
Oh Lord.
I'm not going to talk like that.
So this lady made a post on Instagram.
Sorry.
And she was basically talking about how she wasn't really enthused about being a mother. Like she was talking about how she had to be a parent to a child that she didn't want. So I'm not gonna read all of it. I'm gonna try to condense it down because it's kind of long. So it says, no one teaches you how to love a child you didn't plan to have. No one shows you how to traverse the emotional complexity of loving a child you aren't happy about being pregnant with. It's even more difficult at those times when they're having tantrums and pushing you to a point of emotional exhaustion. It's confusing. When the same people who told you that you pretty much ruined your life are smiling ear to ear at your baby shower a few months later. It's hard. Looking at a beautiful baby and being bogged down by the thoughts of how you would take care of them and how much your life would change. It's so easy to project the pain of your wounded inner child onto your baby. It's a lethal cycle of undealt with trauma. This stage of motherhood has forced me to look at my reflection in my daughter's eyes and realize that no, I don't enjoy being a mother all the time, but this child has been the catalyst for major growth. She is the mirror that allows me to look into my past and see the fears still controlling me now. When we heal our deepest pains, we are speaking to our ancestors across the space-time illusion and holding a cross-generational conversation within our DNA that holds old wounds and rectifies blown problems.
Question real quick.
What?
Is she trying to say that motherfuckers don't want to be parents because of slavery?
I think that what she's saying is kind of like, you know,
how cross-generational and wounds.
I think, like, you know how you have generational, I don't want to use the word curse. But, you know, like, yeah.
Because mostly black women always have children. And they'd be like, oh, I like sex. Okay.
But I mean, I think a lot of stuff.
Again, that's the same time as that.
Because I do it. Honestly, if I'm being completely honest, that's how I ended up with kids. Because I like sex.
In reference to the generational comment, I think that a lot of things you pass down the good and the bad. Right. And so, I mean, people tend to learn from what you do and not necessarily what you say. And so that's how people end up making the exact same mistakes or turn into their parents or whatever. And it's up to you to actually become aware of the problems and try to fix it so that the next generation is not experiencing the same problem. I think that's kind of what she means about it.
Yeah, I totally get it. Because my mom wanted very much so not to have a child of wedlock. Okay, that was her thing. But she didn't. But the rest of us was like, okay. You know, and like
free for him.
It bothered her because we didn't try to do what she did.
Mm.
And the thing is though, but she didn't talk to us about what to do. Like I know we always go back to that because we had that whole conversation about secrets in the black family, but that's part of it. if you don't talk to me about how to protect myself or, what's responsible
and what's important and how to respect myself as a woman and
right. You're left to your own. Yeah.
And it usually takes about however many dicks. You're like, I'm tired of this shit.
How many is that?
You know what I mean? And it's just like, I get what she's saying though, because I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Like I was when I got pregnant with Terrence. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I'm gonna have someone that's always gonna love me. Like that's where I was at that time, because my dad had recently died, and I still was dealing with that grief, and I hadn't really dealt with it. And I was like, yeah, he'll never leave. But then I was like, we don't even like each other now. You know what I'm saying? Like all that I went through, and sometimes I am resentful. So I'm like, so you just gonna fuck my whole body up, and you talk shit to me when you get here?
I'll bite you in the face, young man.
Because like you were telling my mom earlier, there's so many selfless acts that moms have to do. And if you're not ready to do that...
Not even that, no. I think what I said to her was being a mother, period, is complete selflessness. Across the board. And I'm even talking to you bitches that shitty moms out there. Oh, yeah, like being a mother is a complete, a selfless act when you become the actual mother. But when you are constantly taking care of and putting someone else's needs before yours, you are constantly,
I actually kind of disagree with
you're living
that's selfless.
No, I don't think that you should be completely self.
I don't mean completely. I don't mean you're tapped out, nothing matters, I'm selfless. No, but I'm saying that it takes a lot out of you. Michelle didn't give you the whole conversation. I was saying it takes a lot out of you to be.
You just gonna flip the table up?
Did you shaking the table? But it takes a lot out of you to be a mother every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes I understood what that mother on Instagram was saying, because sometimes you just need a moment to regroup, because
I don't even think that what she's talking about is a moment type of thing. I think that
she just wanted to run away for a while.
Yeah, well, okay, so I think that her post was one extremely vulnerable because she
was transparent.
Yeah, she was, but I think it sheds light on the fact that not everybody necessarily wants to be a mother, and now they're stuck in this situation. I think that's what
that, bitch, you're not stuck. Fucking take birth control. There are so many fucking methods. Okay, now we're gonna
in her particular situation, she is married. Let's just
I know she's married.
12?
No, but I'm
married
just
12.
What? When you get 12? I don't know how old she is. But just to give context to this particular lady's situation. She is married, and her and her husband, I think her husband wanted to have kids. I don't think that she necessarily wanted to have kids, what the article said, but here she is. I think she just ended up getting pregnant. I don't know if she was on birth control.
Oh, so they got guilt baby.
But you know what? It's so
I don't know.
But I almost feel like I get
it.
it. But if he helps her,
I think that regardless of how much support you have, the idea of being pregnant, it's just you already know that you're going to be the person that is going to be contributing more to the health and the care of the baby than anybody else. Regardless of your support system, you are that person.
Yeah.
You're going to be 9 times out of 10. You're going to be the person that's getting up. Not to say that her husband is not helping out, or your husband, whoever it is not going to be helping out and getting up in the middle of the night. But you're going to be the one that's going to be keeping up with doctor's appointments. You're going to be the one that's going to be, doing play dates and whatnot. The entire health
of the woman, though, because there are so many.
Let her finish something.
The entire health of the child, for the most part, lies on the woman. And when you find out that you are pregnant, and you know that, and you have that burden on you, I think that there's this myth.
The burden of pregnancy.
No, the
burden of having a child.
The burden of having a child, period, and knowing that you're going to be the main caregiver of that child. I think that one, it's scary, and for a lot of women, myself included, it's I don't know if I want to do this, but I also don't necessarily want to deal with the alternatives. I don't necessarily, I don't want abortion or adoption, foster care, whatever. or giving it to somebody in family. Because then if I give the baby to somebody within the family, I've got to see this.
I would never do that because I would feel like I want to tell the truth.
Yeah,
and a lot of times people don't.
But before you go off on that, I have to address Danielle before I fucking explode. Okay, so yes, Danielle, you're right in the sense that she probably didn't want to, and blah blah blah. But here's my point: she's married, right? We both know she's married. At the end of the day, if this is something that you absolutely know that you did not want, you took zero precautions.
I don't know. We don't know.
No, I know, but I'm saying in the way that you were kind of trying to matter-of-factly explain it, that's why I'm coming back the way that I am. Because if that's the case, don't try to sell that shit to me, Danielle. Because it's like, if it was that so serious and blah, 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 bitch could have been on birth control. She could have went through exactly 1 year of therapy and talked to a doctor about getting a hysterectomy, because I've seen it done before. I've had friends that have had that done before and have 0 kids. Like, there are so many different things this bitch could have did to not have this kid. So while I completely understand and empathize with what she's trying to say, I don't feel like you're going to get this sympathy from me because, I just broke down and had a child because he wanted one or whatever. I don't know what her reasoning is. But don't try to sell that shit to me at this point, because it's your body at the end of the day. You might be married, but your body does not belong to anyone else but you. So your husband, I know some people who have been in relationships and they are fighting constantly because the man wants a baby, the woman doesn't. The woman won't get off birth control long enough to have the baby because, bitch, I still don't want kids yet. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. So my point is, if you never wanted kids, stay your bitch ass on birth control. But don't come trying to sell me some long, sad ass fucking story about what you've been through or how you feel or whatever. And you did nothing to prevent the shit. You did absolutely nothing. But I was gonna say, I really do agree with what she's saying in you want to run away. I had 2 kids almost back to back. My 2 oldest are less than 2 years apart. I couldn't use the bathroom, and I was married. I couldn't use the bathroom without 4 sets of hands up under the door. Driving me crazy. And I understand. I wanted to run away. I wanted to climb through a fucking bathroom window that's like this big. So, I mean, I get that part, but I'm not buying this whole, I never ever in my life wanted kids.
Okay, so she didn't say that. I'm reading her. She didn't say that she didn't want kids. She said that. She said that. I'm rereading the article because I only read her post just now. But she was saying that her and her husband always wanted children, but the pregnancy came as a surprise. So if the pregnancy came as a surprise, I'm going to assume that she was taking birth. It became as a surprise to her and her husband. Like that
sentence doesn't match. If I always wanted kids, the pregnancy was a surprise, that means they may have been trying for a while and nothing happened. And
that doesn't match what was said initially.
Right. So they've been together for 10 years and they wanted children, but the pregnancy came as a surprise. I guess she didn't want children at the time.
Or her baby's just bad and now she's
But she struggled with feelings of guilt and shame to becoming pregnant before the right time. That's what she said. I mean, first of all, there's never going to be it's never going to be a right time to be pregnant. But one, a lot of people were trying to shame her on social media for
living in her truth.
Yeah, because it's like, there's this myth or this idea that once a woman becomes pregnant, it's like, oh my God, she's filled with lilies and flowers and butterflies every day. And she's also connected to the world and to her baby. And now she's filled with love because she has all this life.
Growing in her body.
Exactly. You have all this life just flowing through you. And you have to be happy as a woman.
Bitch, I can't see I can't see my motherfucking feet, bitch. I'm not happy right now.
But that's why there's so many issues behind people going, is it okay to have postpartum depression? And am I supposed to be super happy because I just had this baby?
No, you're not, baby. No,
but they do think that. And that's the thing. It's like a stigma against people who have PPD. And they're like, okay, well, I'll just drown the baby. I won't tell anyone that I feel it. You know what I mean? Or like
that. These terms today are just so dark.
But it's the truth, though.
It's the
truth. It's the truth. Like, Amber Yates had all them kids back to back to back to back to back. Mm-hmm. She had like 5 kids back to back. And she kept saying, you don't feel quite right. To her husband, he's like, girl, you better bend over and get this nut. And so she did.
Because that's what happened.
She had 5 kids back to back after she kept saying, I don't feel right. He was saying, girl, you better bend over and get this nut. Like, essentially, he was saying, it's okay. I don't care what you think. We're going to have this baby.
Right.
Because I want 5 kids.
And bitch, I'd have been in my doctor while you was at work getting birth control.
But see, she wasn't like that.
But she was at home. She said she didn't work. And so, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on with all of that stuff. I mean,
I completely understand.
I'm sure that, you know, she felt like obligated to him to a certain extent. Because
if your husband wants to do X, Y, Z, you're supposed to do it. Right. But, like, I feel kind of like, if in the post she said, I never wanted to be a parent. And then in the article she's saying,
me and my husband wanted kids. That was just a surprise.
Right.
Like, you're a fucking walking contradiction. You're a contradiction.
I look, you feel like I can't trust her.
Stop. Yeah.
Well, so I will say
even
that,
after agreeing with most of what the fuck she said.
Right, because every mom needs a self-care moment. And that's what we don't get. Because like Sharonda said, when you go to the restroom, and you know, people go to the bathroom, get on their phones, think or whatever, you might take a few minutes. You might be doing nothing. You just want to sit there. Right. And like I told you, my mom used to love to read on the toilet because that was her alone time. I would come sit on top of her books and be like, what are you doing? And she'd be like, you
But I was saying she doesn't talk like that. Michelle's mom is like super educated and sounding and stuff and like really like proper. Like she would never even curse.
Okay.
Ever.
Anyway, so
I like her so much.
I understand what she's saying in the post because I mean, you're mourning your old life.
Yeah.
Because I mean, now you have a child in which I guess you weren't ready for, and you never. I mean, I think a lot of people don't realize that you're never going to really be ready. Like a lot of people try to find the perfect time to actually build a family, and there's no perfect time for anything, to be honest.
Right.
I mean, everything unfolds in its own time or whatever. So, but anyway, there's that. So the point I was going to say is that you have to sort of adjust your entire life for
the baby,
the kid that you now have.
Mm-hmm.
And
forget sleep.
Forget sleep. But just thinking about just that alone and how now you no longer have the life that you wanted or the life that you had. Right. And now you have this child that is needy as fuck because kids are extremely needy. And
at every age.
Yeah, at every age they are. And so it's like, what do I do now? And then how do I come to terms with my now life?
With this person.
Because this is now my life, and this is not necessarily the life that I wanted. And I think that I would actually venture to say that a lot of women actually feel that way.
Yeah.
When they get pregnant, and because one, there's a whole lot of uncertainty. I don't deal well with uncertainty myself. Like when I'm in an uncertain situation, like I kind of flip out. So just even thinking about, you know, being pregnant and not knowing, whatever. And so like even just thinking about, you know, having a child and just trying to figure out, you know, well, what am I supposed to do with him now? Right. You know, like I remember when.
Why can't I beat him?
Right. So like, I mean, I remember when I found out I was pregnant. I was actually on my way to go into the Navy. And I was in the hotel room trying to get signed in. I was about to go get signed in, sworn in, to go to the Navy. And for whatever reason that morning, I woke up and I could not seem to get out of the bed.
You were going to the Navy?
I was going to the Navy. I was in the hotel room to go get sworn in, go take all my measurements and weight and everything. Like that was my thing. I was like, okay, you know what? Because my older cousin was she is in the Navy, and she's like, oh shit, I don't even want to start talking about what she
I'm like, you gonna let somebody tell you what to do? Yeah,
like this. I mean, she was like, this is a good career path, and so it's like, okay, you know what? I can do that. So I went through the whole process of it. I mean, up until the moment when I was going to get sworn in is when I realized I was pregnant, because I got up that morning and threw up in the shower. I don't throw up. So I immediately knew.
Ever? So that means no gag reflex.
No. So I immediately knew that something was wrong. So, and I was right, because when I took a test later on that day,
the results were positive.
They were positive. And it was just like,
but you see how she was trying to get it out. She's like it had 2 lines on it.
Yeah. And so anyway, I mean, I had no intention on actually getting pregnant, having a baby. Like, my life was supposed to be, I was supposed to be going off on a ship and getting sworn in and whatever.
And on the ship.
Right. And so in foreign places.
Right, that ship to the child hall.
And so
ship it. Keep going, Danielle.
I'm sorry.
See, people came back and we started doing that.
Anyway, so once I found out, that I was pregnant, like, I realized that, the life that I had envisioned for myself was now over with. And so it's like, what do I do? And the recruiter was actually the one that was like, hey, you should, you can have an abortion, right? And he's like, well, what about the dad? You don't want to just get a baby over to the dad?
First of all, I'm sorry. You're such a man.
And so it's like,
he'll just take him. Maybe he'll throw the football around a little bit.
Like,
overboard when you have it.
What about your mama? You don't trust your mama? Like, I was just like, what is wrong with you? Like, I don't like these alternatives.
I'm gonna tell you something about penis makes you stupid.
So, I mean, and I said all that to say, the day that I actually gave birth, when they actually pulled him out, and I remember them holding him up, and my first thought was, not that that's my baby and I love him and whatever. It was, yuck, that's a big ass baby. That was my first thought. I mean, he was so gross with all of that slime and shit. And they were like, you want to hold him? And I was like, no. Go clean him up first. And
Judging you, bitch. Judging you. Your body made that bullshit that he said. And if that was a
bullshit. I do not care. I do not care. Okay, that's just like,
I was like, doing a little slimy thing.
Do I also want to hold a placenta? Fuck no. Like, what? What are we talking about right now?
A placenta is not a fucking human either.
Whatever. It's like, but you talk about it came out of my body and it was just gooey stuff.
Can y'all
do I also want to have a
period pads? Are you down?
What are you talking about?
Your period pads are not a human, bro.
That was your child that you made in your body, and it was a living,
and that's why he got all your money in your paw.
And once they cleaned him up, I held him. But I understand her sort of detachment from it, beforehand. Like I get what she's saying.
I'm upset with you.
I'm
upset.
Generally don't care.
See, but my thought was,
where's the other
when Terrence was born, I was very happy and I wanted him on me, and I shouldn't have let him go to the nursery.
You should have? Why?
Because I couldn't sleep when I got home. Like, you already know. First of all, Sharon, do you know me?
Yeah.
That most anxious bitch on earth?
I did.
I come home with this child, I don't know what to do with it. So I overfed him. Then he cried for
breathing. What do I do?
I overfed him during MASH, of course, because I was always up at 4 a.m. watching MASH. I overfed him, and then he cried for like 5 hours.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
I like MASH. He cried for
I watched MASH.
That was all that was on TV.
The TV used to go off back in the day.
Well, shut up, bitch.
Yeah,
I didn't have cable. But I didn't have cable.
But it don't matter because Terrence is 39.
Well, that was the time that Terrence's dad went to work. Terrence's dad would get up and get ready to go to work, and I would wake up, and I would be up for a while. And then Terrence would be like, with his bullshit or whatever.
Okay.
Right. So I gave him I had a bunch of them little ass bottles. I did not know how often a baby should eat. Child gave him so much milk.
He threw it up.
Yes, and he hollered for like 7 hours.
Because his stomach was hurting.
Right, but I didn't know. And so I called my mom and I was like, I said, you better come over here. Y'all know me? I said, one of us is going out the window. So she brought me an egg muffin, and I was like, because we were at a C-section, so I was already like fucked up. So I couldn't get up good. And he was just crying. And my thoughts were, this is not what it was supposed to be like. Because I was excited to have him. I was super thrilled to have him.
I genuinely don't even understand why people want to have kids.
Well, now I don't. Because now I don't. now that I have 2 kids that talk to me nonstop, I'm like, why are you in my house?
Well, I mean, I get that there are some people that feel like, they want to have a family and they want a kid that resembles both them and their husband or their wife or whatever like that. But in all honesty, for the most part, I think that people are trying to fix something that's broken within them. It's like, I want to sort of relive my childhood. I want to make it better for them. I want somebody that's going to love me. And, I think,
like I said.
Yeah, exactly. Just like I like that. Like, I think that I think for the most part, it's not necessarily genuine in what you can give to a kid in a life that you can necessarily provide, but like how you can fix your broken life.
And I feel like
within that child.
It's a lot of fantasy.
Yeah.
Because I would lay down and just dream about me and Terrence skipping through a field full of daisies. And now I'm like, you know what? Explosion. And then look how much money he spent.
But you know what? And that's
$9,000 later.
And I kind of think that kind of goes with everything in life. Well, actually, goes back to the PSA, is focusing on what you can receive versus what you can give.
Describe it. It's like something clicked in me. Like, I don't know what it was, but it was just like, okay, so we're on a schedule every day. We're not going to be reading. We're not going to be on looking at TV. We're going to be reading. We're going to be flashcards. Like, I just went into this weird ass, like, I don't even know where it came from. Like, just like all of a sudden, day to night. And I just really I don't know, focused on him. And it was just this thing. Like, I just knew what to do. And I was like, why do I have him turned over backwards and I'm burping him like this, like across my arm? Like, doesn't that hurt? He's like 5 minutes old, but like, I can't.
Like more malleable.
Well, yeah, I know that now, but what I'm saying is,
you were super mom, baby.
No, I apparently was, but I didn't know why I was doing certain things. But one thing I did do, and I'm saying that to say that I agree with Jocelyn, is you let your instincts kick in, and that shit will happen. Even people who have dealt with postpartum and stuff like that, eventually that hormonal balance will get fixed. No, you don't still have it. Shut up. No, I'm kidding. But to me, she's only 5. What the fuck? But to me, no matter where you were, if you have a kid now, like especially under us, like you have the kid now, you let your shit kick. It'll eventually click for you. It kicks in, and you just go. You just run with it. And I feel like that's the moment that lady had, because the same chick that Danielle's reading the post about, they got 2 kids now. So bitch, you wasn't that fucking bad.
But she said, this is my problem with her. She said she never wanted. Like, I have said, I never really wanted to be a mother.
As did I.
But I didn't go back and go, we're just playing you out. Because my sister had a lot of kids when I was young, and I was always having to watch somebody. 4.
Oh, okay.
But I was always having to watch somebody. I was always having to babysit. You know what I mean? And I was like, I don't want it. But again, nobody told me, hey, you need to make sure you're doing this, or you need to do this when you go out. If you're going to have sex, do it like this, or don't do this. Nobody gave me that game. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not faulting my mom because she didn't want to talk about it. Like, that wasn't something
she didn't want to talk about. What?
Sex. Mm-hmm. She wasn't comfortable talking about sex, really. So.
Oh, and that's something else I want to say to you. I feel like the things that we lacked growing up, because I know you said you had a few things, I had things too. I feel like now, or do you feel like now that you're like focused on that and you're like, I'm going to make sure I do X, Y, Z, blah, 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 to make sure that she doesn't, I'm not going to say make the same mistakes, but to make sure that I'm
teaching them what I feel like her aware. As an adult.
Yeah.
Because there are other things that I know, that my mom taught me. She drilled in me. Like,
no, and I'm not saying all the same.
But I'm saying, though, that's the work ethic. I got that. Mm-hmm. I got all of that.
But it's like easy now to pull out what you didn't get, and you're like, okay. Right. But I just feel like you get greater later, because you're like, okay, she taught me this, she didn't teach me that. So now your kid's gonna have double what you had,
because that's what I needed to know as an adult, and so that's why I talk to my kids. Even Michaela, I talk to Michaela about people touching her or sex or stuff like that, because I don't want her to think it's normal for someone her age to be participate in that kind of shit.
Right.
Because it did happen to me. And I talked to Terrence about it too. And I talked to Terrence about sex, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to get on you. I know you're getting to the age where y'all start getting curious, I'm saying this.
Strap it up.
You need to have a condom because not just because babies, because
It's
anything else.
And these bitches is nasty.
Right. And niggas is
They
nasty
mama-
too.
Somebody
so a nasty
nasty.
nigga ran into a bitch, and then that nasty bitch now ran into you. So you just need to be careful, you know. And like he's like, "Ew, mom, I don't want to talk about sex." But like we watched a movie the other day, and the girl in the movie, they just made out, but like someone made a video of it. And so it was like this big to do because it was like, oh, they had sex. Oh, you know the movie, right? Yeah. To All the Boys I've Loved Before on Netflix. And, you know, I try to watch like teen movies with Terrence most of the time. Okay. So the girl, though, she was upset. And I said, you know, if you ever run into a problem like that at school, or you feel like someone's picking on you or someone's trying to pressure you and doing something, you don't have to do it. You know, you don't have to worry about being cool or anything like that.
Right.
And I hope I'm teaching him enough, because I know, like, I even told him this because I was young when I had him. It's like we kind of had to grow up at the same time, also.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like, but I don't want him to lose that, you know, like,
innocence.
No, their respect for me.
Oh,
we're you know. But I did a lot of things whenever I was a young parent, and he was like, "This bitch."
That's how most of us first kids are. Because my mom had me on her 17th birthday. And I remember saying, I was talking to somebody recently, I was like, I used to say shit like, what's she doing now? Where's she going with that? Why she got the little ass shorts on? Like, I was like an old lady when I was like 5. You know, like,
you were Michaela?
Why you got some shorts on? Baby, where are your shoes? Like,
are you going out?
Right.
Are you going to smoke? I'm like, get out of my fucking business. But I mean, I know why, because I have that kind of relationship with them. Because I'm more...
Not even that. Kids are just fucking smart.
They are. But I do try to be open with them because I know that my mom and dad did so many things from us. And yeah, it's for protection. But you don't realize the disservice that you do to your kids whenever you try to protect them from life, the truth. So we've been on for how long? What's that?
An hour and a half.
Okay, so
these hoes be talking.
How's the talking?
We're gonna review the wine.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts, Jen? Then Geezy.
Well, I mean, I just don't think that you can completely discount a woman's feelings on having to be a parent to a child that you didn't necessarily want.
Right.
I mean, I think that that's a very difficult situation, and there's a lot of stuff that you have to navigate around to even be able to do that. I mean, it's a lot of giving up of yourself and compromising of yourself, and when you know you don't want to do this.
Right.
And in her case, I really hope that her children don't feel that from her. And I know that is probably difficult, because kids do pick up on a lot of things. I mean, things that you think that you're hiding stuff from your kids, and they know.
Right, which is what I was just saying.
Yeah.
I knew they was arguing and shit.
Right. I mean, because you can feel things. You can feel the tension in the room. You can feel, you can feel all of that. So, I mean, I just really hope that that her kids actually feel love from her, even though she doesn't necessarily want to be a parent.
Well, that's not her current state, though.
Right,
if you just, because see, I never read said article that you read. I literally just read her Instagram post. And at the very end, she's saying how, she's learned to work through XYZ. I don't know, it's been like 3 days since I read it, so I've forgotten. But basically, she's made peace with it, and she's, moved on, and she's learning every day, and blah, 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 blah. And then she fucked around and had a second one. So.
But I was going to say, remember that time that I think it was me at your house, you were talking about parenting, or are you ready to parent, or whatever?
Mm-hmm. Are you, parenting is for adults.
Right. Nicole told me one time, because I was down about my parenting, because we all know I'm a perfectionist, first of all. I'd be like, someone got a little bit. But she was like, you know what? Like, you have to stop beating yourself up about this, because as long as you're there with them, you do the best you can, they're going to feel love. They might, every person has issues. So it's like, you can't be like, well, fuck the kids up. Who's not a little bit fucked?
And that's exactly what I was saying earlier. Like, don't ever like beat yourself up for shit. Like if you really feel, don't do it. You feel like you've made the best decision that you possibly can in that space and in that time. Then, bitch, case sera. It is what the fuck it is. I'm moving the fuck on.
Look at you, Doris Day.
I'm just saying.
Alright, so you want to rate point? How'd you like it?
Danielle.
I give it a 17.
Bitch, add a number. Add a number, bitch. She went over there counting those.
I hate this shit.
She was like, this is a 5.
She got a whole sheet in her hand. She's like,
this is a 2.9.
Clarity.
I'm giving you the bottle of 2.9.
No, it's to me it's not as smooth for a blend. It's a little bit
over.
Doesn't
That doesn't matter.
It does not matter.
Micro.
HEB has some really good wines.
No. Okay, well next time.
HEB fucking does. Even the ghetto HEBs have good wine.
Next time when you
But I'm just saying, like,
somewhere in the HEB, y'all get y'all.
My point is that grocery stores have good wine. That's my point.
Agreed.
So it's not as smooth as I would like for it to be for a blend.
Okay.
And
but you know
it's
what?
a little high.
What kind of wine.
It's okay. I mean, normally when it's a blend, they just mix all the shit that they have.
No,
together.
a lot of the matter of fact, I'm gonna go with 85% of the time it has it on the back.
Right, on which whites they put in.
Yeah.
A lot of times they don't. So
yeah.
I'm sorry,
anyway,
you're a wine connoisseur.
Anyway, so
fucking look at me like I'm crazy. Go ahead, Dan.
So it was a little bit high on the acidity for me. I don't remember what else I was going to say because I kept getting rudely interrupted.
When?
Ooh,
So there's
burn. Michelle.
I'm gonna give it a 25 since I bought it from Kroger. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I know it has a fruit, a pear thing.
Did you read it?
While I was at Kroger. Yeah.
Stupid. I'm gonna have to agree with Danielle. I'm gonna give it also like an 18. Because the finish is not as bad as I thought. The finish is not as bad as I initially thought it was. Initially, when I took the first sip, I hadn't had much. Whatever. Bitch, don't roll your eyes at me. I hadn't had as much. The first sip to me was like, ugh, oh my god, it's gonna have a horrible aftertaste, but it doesn't. It's not as bad as I thought it was.
Right, it's really not that good.
But it's not great. I don't feel like it'd be any better if it's colder. I tried to put all that into my score, but I think it's just not great.
Right.
No, I'm saying even that would not have helped this wine.
It really wasn't good. But I only gave it a 25 because y'all did you so.
Spiteful bitch. Danielle?
So do we want to talk about weight?
What?
Want to talk about our events coming up?
Bitch, we got 1 hour and 30 minutes on this shit.
Fine, bye then.
You don't get to say that, Danielle.
bye.
Thank you for joining us on Between Us Girls. But don't keep it a secret. Listen and share with everyone you know. See you next week.